Aye.
Martins?
Aye.
I'll vote aye as well. And the minutes then are approved. Item number 2 is discussion and possible action on conveyance of additional land to River Life Wasa LLC Phase 1 project. And you'll see you've got some information in the packets on this, and this looks like it does clean up the lines around the property a little bit. Right before this meeting, I was in conference with the city attorney, and upon some survey work at the property, they've indicated that based on the location of some sprinkler apparatus that is ours in the right-of-way, that we should we choose to amend it or approve this item tonight, we should amend it to reserve a 10-foot easement on the water side of the property, and that would accommodate our infrastructure that is in that area. With that, do you have questions for the city attorney on this item or for Mary Ann at all? We also have Sean Fitzgerald with us if you have questions. If not, do we have a motion to approve the item? We have a motion from Ryan. Do we have a second?
No. Questions?
Okay, let me get the motion first, Deb. Do we have a motion?
Okay.
Motion by Watson, is there a second? Second by Herbst. Okay, go ahead, Deb, with your question.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. In reading a little bit more about the valuation and that I guess the way residential real estate is going, maybe within a few years, we may be at the peak right now, or 102% of what the value is. And that, say, the value of River Life might potentially go down in a couple of years. So I do think we need to look at that clause about, so that it's not necessarily not reconsidered if the valuation goes down on the property. Thank you.
Go
Deb,
ahead,
I think you're addressing the second River Life item on the agenda regarding changing the amount of the subordination amount. We're talking.
I guess so.
Yep, I understand your comment, though. Right now, we're talking about the conveyance of slightly negligible additional land because of the way the lines ended up with the patios and the walks, basically.
No, I understand that. You know, sometimes that happens with building and how the setbacks and all that. So I agree, we need to reconcile that and get the survey and the legal description
Sure.
up to date to reflect
Okay.
what it should be.
We have, and Public Works Director Lindman is here as well. Eric, did you have comments you wanted to make?
I do, thank you.
We just talked about the 10-foot easement before you came in.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, just with the additional stuff, and we just found that out today. So we'll have revisions throughout the document with the legal description on that, if you're okay with moving
Yes.
forward with that. So,
Yep.
Okay.
We'll just verify with our motion and our second. With the motion, are we good to include the 10-foot easement reservation in that motion to approve? Okay, Sarah's nodding yes, and good with the second? Is Dawn the second? Okay. Sorry. Okay, just so that we're clear, so that then our one action tonight will convey the additional land, square up the lot lines, and reserve our 10-foot easement all in one vote. Additional questions or comment? If not, we'll go ahead and vote on this item. Herbst? Ryan?
Aye.
Martins?
aye.
Watson?
Aye.
I'll vote aye as well, and that item is approved. Item number 3 is discussion and possible action on authorizing express written consent to subordinate the city's mortgage to River Life Wasa LLC to a third-party lender exceeding $8.5 million. You've got some information in the packets on that item. And I think this is what Alder Ryan was addressing in her prior comments, was that we may not necessarily want to give up that subordinated, but not necessarily give up our rights under the contract, which was outlined in the legal memo that you have in the packets from Ann. Committee members, do you have questions at all for either the city attorney, for Sean Fitzgerald, or for Mary Ann? And hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the item? Motion by Ryan, is there a second? You have a second? Second by Herbst. Further discussion? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. Watson? Oh, wait, go ahead.
Just want to make it.
Come on up, Ann.
I'm sorry, Lisa, I just want to make it very clear that the way I drafted this is I did include in the therefore be it resolved that they are increasing the amount from 8.5 million to 10 million and not waiving the cap altogether.
Correct.
So they know what they're voting on. If they
Yeah.
want to waive that, they'd have to amend this as well.
Okay, and I think we were interested in keeping that, so, all right, are we ready to vote then, committee members? We'll go ahead and vote. Ryan?
Aye.
Watson?
Aye.
Martins? Herbst? I'll vote aye as well, and that item is approved. Item number 4 is discussion and possible action on amending declaration of covenants, conditions, restrictions, and easements for the Wasa East Riverfront. And you've got some information in your packets on that item as well. Does anyone have questions for staff on that item? And this also is cleaning things up a little bit down there. If not, do we have a motion to approve the item? Motion by Martins, is there a second? Second by Watson. Further discussion or questions? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. Martins?
Aye.
Herbst? Watson?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye as well, and that item is approved. Item number 5 is discussion and possible action authorizing the write-off of certain uncollectible, delinquent personal property tax accounts from the city's accounting records and charging back to other governmental units. You'll see a list of all of the uncollectible personal property tax that's recommended for write-off. Important to recognize that when we do this write-off, the county does still try to collect, right? Or-
The city.
City, okay. So the city does still try to collect those taxes, so we're not just giving up, but this does take it off of our books until they would collect, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Committee members, any questions on any of this? This is something we do every year. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion by Herbst, is there a second? Second by Martins. Further discussion? Mary Ann, did you have comments? Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
just wanted to indicate that, you know, the state statutes do allow us in these circumstances, the ones that I've highlighted, to charge that back to the school, county, and technical college. And then if we would subsequently collect from them, we would pay the school, the county, and the tech back. I did meet with, and we do, as Lisa pointed out, still work on collection. The attorney's office works on that. I did meet with Rick Rubo today, and he actually has the employer ID number on all of these, on many of these businesses from that PP return. And so we're going to talk about doing tax intercepts, since that would be something available to us. So
Sure.
that will be an additional collection option for the city, since we do have that information.
Excellent.
And the nice thing about the business component of it is not only will the state intercept their tax refunds, but if they became a vendor of the state and attempted to provide services, it would come from contractor payments too.
Okay. Okay, so a little safeguard for us then on that. Additional comments or questions? Go ahead, Michael.
The list seems to be a little bit more substantial than I've seen it in previous years. I guess my big question is, these ones that are pending court action, is that like small claims litigation or something, or
Yes,
what's the,
I believe so.
okay. So they're technically probably still in business, but it's past the collections point then, I think, but, okay,
No.
no?
We could still, I mean, we still are attempting to collect, and some of them, I think, oh yeah, you can see 2 of them are in payment plans right
Yeah.
now through their communications with the attorney's office. So that is something, and we are kind of talking about maybe some other options for collection too, but you're right. It is a little bit longer than prior years, and of course, it looks more substantial in total because of the shop go bankruptcy as well.
Sure. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay. Additional questions or comments? Deb, go ahead.
I would think because of the pandemic for businesses, that, a number of businesses would probably have been going out of business this year and maybe had to apply for, the assistance to small business as well. But by tracking their federal ID number, business number, at least there's options then to see if we could recoup in the future. So I'm glad that Mary Ann mentioned that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Additional comments? If not, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. Watson?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Herbst? Martins?
Aye.
I'll vote aye as well, and then that item is approved. Item 6 is discussion on possible action regarding updating our resolution designating public depositories and authorizing withdrawal of county, city, village, town, or school district monies. And I guess if you have questions for Mary Ann on this item, this is the item that removes Robert Splinter, correct, from our
Right.
financial
Adds Emily.
institutions, and then it adds Emily,
Yep.
the same authorizations that Bobby had.
Yes, that's the only change to the
Okay.
resolution.
Okay. Does anyone have questions on this item? If not, is there a motion to approve? Motion by Watson, second by Ryan. Further discussion? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. Herbst? Martins?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Watson?
Aye.
I'll vote aye as well, and that item is approved. Item number 7 is 2020 budget modification for street projects and fund realignment. You'll see a write-up in the packet about that. This does actually just true up our actual costs with our budget alignments, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone have questions on any of these projects or any of this adjustment? This is also something we do every year.
Right, I would say the only
ahead.
difference here is when we put the project together, and it was outlined in my memo, First Avenue was funded by TID 6 and TID 8. We allocated the first cost to TID 6 because its expenditure period was ending. And so the debt then traveled with that project to the TIDs. So by moving that out of First Avenue to Town Line Road or Pondee, which are just general capital projects, that debt retirement would move with them. So, we would take the $385,000 and we would be paying for that out of general property taxes versus the TID district because we had moved the corresponding expense and the proceeds to pay for it.
Sure.
So, $385,000 is not going to impact our levy long-term.
Sure.
But I just wanted to, bring that to your attention, I guess.
Sure. And we do have a lot of times these large state projects are open for quite a period of
They
time also.
are,
So
yes.
it takes a while to get those last bills through the door. So does anyone have questions for Mary Ann on the adjustment? If not, is there a motion to approve? Motion by Ryan, second by Martins. Further discussion? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Watson?
Aye.
Herbst? Ryan?
Aye.
Martins?
Aye.
I'll vote aye as well, and that item is approved. Item number 8 is update on Fire Station 2 construction project budget. And you've got a little write-up in the packets on Station 2 now that it is complete. And you can see some of the contingencies there. It looks like we're a tiny bit over, right?
Yes.
Based on where we were, but I think you did state we had savings in other areas that would more than cover
Right.
the difference, right? So this
Yes.
just trues up our estimate with our actual.
Yes, and really, it was just for reporting purposes. If you recall, when we started down this, we had, I guess, fine-tuned our budget based on Myron's budget, which, much of it was based on bids, but some of it just contained allowances. And of course, some of those allowances were not sufficient to purchase everything that needed to be purchased. So in total, just under $75,000 over that initial budget. And the line items, basically outline the areas that we ran into problems. One of the big ones was utility installation, so that was to bring power and gas to the site because it was an undeveloped site in the past. And you can see that, $7,500 utility install versus the actual cost of $36,000 was a big difference. And, whenever we extend utilities like that, there is an opportunity that the city could recover some of that money if someone else would hook up to that utility install. So we might be able to recover that, but, we can't really predict what that would look like.
Sure. Okay. Anybody have questions for Mary Ann on that item? And I believe that's information only, so we don't need to act upon that. So we'll place that report on file. And item number 9 is discussion.
Deb
Oh,
has
go
her
ahead,
hand.
Deb, sorry.
I guess I just had some information I wanted to share. One of my Warren Pool colleagues had recently gone to the Warren Pool, which is now like almost a year completed, and I believe Myron Construction did it. And then I think starting next week or this week, they're shutting down for 3 weeks due to the handrails are rusting in the pool. The slope for people getting in and out in 2 sections is dangerous, and we're dealing with a lot of people that are having physical disabilities. And so this is some things that were found to be insufficient and nearing the 1-year mark. So I guess I would encourage that the city go ahead and really inspect everything so that we make sure that before the 1 year is up on the new construction, anything that needs to be repaired should be repaired by Myron on the fire station. Thank you.
Agreed. We'll make sure that happens. Take a look at anything that we note that's not right.
It's a really good reason to have warranties on this stuff.
It is, and the good part about Station 2 is that basically people live there. So, I mean, you're there all the time. You're going to notice if something is wrong. So that's good for us, that we always have eyes in the building. So, let's see. Item number 9 is discussion and possible action regarding a resolution in opposition to the Office of Budget Management's recommended changes to metropolitan and micropolitan statistical area standards. And this is something that actually Mary Ann and the mayor have been working on for a couple weeks. At the federal level, Office of Budget Management has requested to change the verbiage that they use to describe cities our size. And that really could unintentionally have some ramifications on how we qualify for things like block grant and how we qualify for funding. And so I know that the mayor's written a letter. She's also requested, or at least been offering feedback to our representatives and asking that they also, stand up against this verbiage. And there are cities, I think nationwide, that are concerned about this change in status that could really impact our funding. It may not, but you hate to get to a point where it's done and find out after the fact that a change in semantics has caused us to be hamstrung for funding. Any comments on this matter, Mayor? I know you've been working on it, so.
Sure, yeah. So this first came to my attention from Tammy Stratton, Community Development. It really, the concern started in that area because of the Community Development Block Grant funding kind of formula. They use that micropolitan and metropolitan as how they get funds. And so we're an entitlement city. We have been since the 70s. And we're concerned that the semantic change would then change the funding formula just inadvertently. So that's why we submitted our letter in opposition, talked to the League of Municipalities. They actually, I think the letter in your packet is one that they use based off of our letter. Talked to Tammy Baldwin's office. They submitted a letter in opposition. And actually the county board last Thursday voted unanimously to oppose those changes too. So they're on our side. They submitted that they submitted that feedback as well. So this is kind of following suit with all of this conversation happening. It's probably the most I've ever heard on something like micropolitan statistical standards, but it's good that we're all kind of paying attention here.
Well, it is, and I think it's good that we all work and act together to communicate that, you know, regardless of what their intent is, the impact could be way different. And, you know, obviously, we need all of that funding that we can get. So this will be one way for our committee and the council to speak to those representatives as a group and make them aware of the fact that, you know, their intentions might have been one thing, but the outcome could be quite another. So, committee members, any comments on this item? If not, do we have a motion to approve? Motion by Ryan, second by Watson. Additional discussion? Did you have comments? Oh, Deb, go ahead.
I had questions about it. I guess from our recent census, I believe we're at 37,000 something for the city of Wausau. So I guess I do feel at times staff as well as some alderpersons or people in the community are making comparisons with Wausau to, you know, Madison or Clare and that, and we're not really comparable. We're totally a different size, and so I guess I have mixed feelings that I do feel that we should be in the right category, but that I do feel that the OMB should go ahead and look at smaller cities for having community development grants, because that is something that we need, as well as because of so much low incomes and poverty in our area. So I have mixed feelings about this, and I just feel like we need to really start looking at Wausau realistically of where we fit with other cities, instead of dreaming big city when we're not. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional comments? If not, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. Herbst? Aye. Martins?
Aye.
Ryan?
No.
Watson?
Aye.
I'll vote aye as well. And that item then will pass 4-1. That is the last item on our agenda, so I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Herbst, second by Martins. Members in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We'll stand adjourned, and Common Council will start then in this chamber at 6:30. So thank you, everyone.